In this video, I've got a list in front of me and I wanted to talk you guys through my end of season plans, what it means for Lowerlaptime, what it means for you, what it means for the content, the channel, the direction, just some of the things I want to do and want to achieve in the second half of this year, having moved already. So if you're interested in what these are, definitely keep watching. For those of you new to my channel, my name is Martin and I started racing when I was 12. In the sim world, I've raced and beaten some of the best drivers in Australia. I worked as a driver and performance engineer in Formula 3 and I developed my own race strategy simulation software for Formula 1. I raced in KZ2 at the highest level and got pole position in my first ever race. I specialize in the open formula category and now have my own course and website where I can share my 20 plus years of driving experience with you, which I'll put a link to in the description below. Guys, as we go through this video, just keep in mind the audio is a bit crackly in places. I'm sorry for that. I'm trying to work it out. I'm not an audio engineer. I hate these things, honestly. So if anyone knows why it's crackling, please leave me a comment and reach out to me and I can fix that up for later. So apologies about that. So we've just moved house and it's been a good time for me to just reset and redefine goals, direction, objectives, how I can help the community, how I can help more racing drivers, my reach, my engagement, my followers, my students, the whole thing. So as you can see behind me, there's still a bunch of stuff lying around. We haven't fully moved. We're kind of half settled. Still a bit of work to do. In the background there, you can see my helmet, one of my trophies, a picture of me and Erica, a picture of Roger Federer, you guys know is my childhood hero. And I draw a lot from Roger or tennis in general and apply that to racing. And a picture of Kimi, two pictures of Kimi, one where he won in Spa and 2007 Brazil World Championship year as well. So I've got to put all this away and set up and everything. But I've got a bunch of points in front of me, which I wanted to run through. Again, goals, direction, blah, blah, blah. In no particular order, I just want to run through these and share these with you because I'm still passionate about coaching, still passionate about Formula One, still passionate about giving insights and still believe that I have value to add to the community, something that's I'm really missing. And I think we had Rob Wilson, who's a driver coach, and you know, Rob's not getting any younger and I guess we need someone to take that over. And I've listened to Rob a lot, learned a lot from him, and all his information is in my courses plus more, you know, plus the things that Rob might not be up to date with, like brake migration and attack and defense and strategy and starts and things that were not really from his generation. So I wanted to carry that mantle on because he's fantastic and provide that, but in a more online accessible form, right? Okay. So anyway, let's go through the list. So the first one I've got here is race and driving analysis. So it's very common for a lot of YouTubers to jump on YouTube after the race and say, oh, what did you think of this drama and the strategy call and here and that? But I think there's a gap there because people don't look at the race like I would through the driver's lens, through what could I have done better? How could I have improved my starts? You know, how could the situation have been better or different for a particular driver? So we've just finished the Belgian Grand Prix. And for example, if I was giving you an analysis on that, I would say, you know, it was such a weird race because the medium tire wasn't lasting that well and the hard tire was lasting very well, exceptionally well. And then we had Lewis kind of coming back after the race saying, you know, or thinking at least that he got hard done by and he should have had a better strategy and the team and this and that. But the reality is all the information was there. You know, Carlos was running lap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 on the hard tire. All of that information was being fed back to the world. And we could see that the hard tire was a durable tire based on that. But no one was really watching Carlos because he was in P8 or whatever. So the information is always there. You just need to go looking for it. And you need to be awake as well. The other thing that the teams and drivers didn't consider was that the DRS zone was actually shortened this year. And everyone's saying it's turbulence and whatever, which there was a little bit, like that's true. but the DRS zone was shortened for this year. So we have a thing in strategy called the overtaking delta. If previously last year, the overtaking delta was half a second, which means if I'm half a second quicker than you, then I can get past you. Now with the DRS shortened, the overtaking delta would increase. And for example, you need to be now 7 or 8 tenths a lap quicker than the car in front in order to pass them. So that wasn't really factored into the strategy. That moved the race from a 2-stop to a 1-stop, in my opinion. The DRS shortening, overtaking delta having to therefore increase, has pushed the race into a 1-stop together with the tires lasting. So when you look at all those things, now you look back and you're like, oh yeah, it was an easy, of course it was a 1-stop. It's harder to pass and the tires last. So, yeah. But it's always easy to look back. You've just got to be aware of, you just got to be switched on. And I think given that coming into the end of the season, just before the break, everyone's tired. We're all humans, and who's there like with that sort of energy and motivation? Obviously, George. So full credit to him for that win, if you like. So that's the sort of insight that I want to give you, having a race strategy background myself. But yeah, going forward, those are some of the things that I want to comment on. Together with Hungary, for example, when all of the drama was about Oscar letting Lando through and blah, 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 and should McLaren and whatever. What about Lando's start? That's where it all fell down. That's where the whole thing fell apart. So Lando's starts lately, I think in the last 5 starts or 6 starts, he's been passed off the start. Again, in Spa, he lost places off the start as well. So it's clear that that's an area he would need to improve. So there's little insights like that where I can draw your attention away from the drama to something underlying that's driving the issue. So that's what I want to do at the end of every race. Now with the time zone difference here, my races are going to be at 9 p.m. So that's great. I don't know how I'm going to feel. So the race finished at 11. I'm not sure I'm going to jump on here at 11 p.m. and start doing race analysis. I'd like to, but again, it's one of my goals. It's here on my list. I just don't know how it's going to work. So just guys in the comments, if you think that would be valuable or whatever, definitely, yeah, push me forward. Yeah. Give me some motivation for that one. Okay. The next one I have here is reels and content focused on tips and distractions. So I want to do more reels, more contents, more TikToks, more YouTube shorts, whatever. I think that's a good way to reach new audience. The thing that I really want to tackle with it is the distractions. I've given a lot of tips already. A lot of technical tips is already on my social media. So you can go searching for that. And if you're enrolled in my program, like you're not short of technical knowledge. But I think where I can add more value as well is the amount of distractions that a lot of F4 drivers are currently going through. And if you listen to Peter Windsor, he'll tell you that even in F1, he considers that Lando's distracted. I'm not sure I would go that far. I think Lando just needs a bit of recentering. I don't think he's distracted. But in F4 and F1 Academy, there's massive distractions. I know a lot of drivers working with social media managers, spending a lot of time with social media managers in order to grow their social media profile. Now that's fine. I have nothing against that. That's fine. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. But I think it should be done in combination and in conjunction with working with a driver coach as well. At the moment, everyone has a social media manager, but not everyone has a driver coach. And I think the best form of social media is you at the end of the race lifting the trophy. So if you're an F4 driver or F1 Academy driver listening now, that's the best form of social media. If you look at your posts, you with the trophy or you with success is what everyone loves, is what everyone wants to see. I don't really think people want to see you juggling tennis balls or skipping or whatever, because that does nothing for your performance. And here's my philosophy and the way I look at this. As human beings, we only have 100% of anything, right? We only have 100% of time. Or what I'm trying to say is we only have a certain amount, like finite resource. We only have a certain amount of time. We only have a certain amount of mental capacity. We only have a certain amount of energy. We only have so much that we can learn or absorb or focus on at any given time. And so if you're giving attention, capacity, time, effort, energy, money, resource, whatever, to social media, there's the opportunity cost of that going into your learning and your technical capability. So I understand, like I empathize. I know it's great. You're young, you're a race driver, you want to grow your social media, and that leads to sponsorships and leads to this and that and collaborations. Fantastic. Keep doing that. But I think it should complement or supplement you spending time with a driver coach as well. It should not be to the detriment of that. So I want to do a lot of reels and content focused on that because that's at the core of my values. I think also that what do I want to say here? Sorry, I lost my train of thought. There's a lot on my mind with that topic. Yeah, I was going to say it's a massive opportunity as well because everyone's distracted with the social and juggling the tennis balls and the skipping and the reaction test and whatever, none of which leads you towards lower lap time. Then there's a massive opportunity for you there as well. So if you're just at the track and you're focused on lap time, like that is your only focus, then you're going to excel because a lot of people are distracted. So I just want to highlight it to you that getting lower lap time is all you're chasing. That's all we measure. Who's the fastest? Also, to that extent, the gym as well. A lot of drivers spending a lot of excessive time in the gym. I say the same thing. Your fitness is important. Your gym is important. Your mental health is important, but it should supplement and complement your work, your technical work that you do with the driver coach. So I truly believe that. And again, with the gym and the social media, it's, all about the training and the preparation, but they never sit down and look technically and critically. With me, that's something I'd like to change, and I hope is well received. Okay, the Undercut podcast is the next one on my list. Ellie Mae, Timo, Jesse, you guys are amazing. It's for those of you that don't know, it's a very niche, very small podcast discussing F1. They've had me on for a few races, race analysis and race previews and whatnot, which I'm super grateful for and I super enjoyed. I really think it's an undervalued podcast. It doesn't get the reach or the views that I think it should because it's great. The three of them have a great dynamic. I loved being involved as a fourth member, providing technical input. So we've got like journalism and technical side and, all of the team structure covered. So like between the four of us, I just thought it was a great dynamic. So I want to do more on the Undercut podcast if I'm welcome, of course, and just chip in because sometimes they spark different things in me that allows me to contribute in a different way or give me something that I hadn't thought of, which I think is also great as well. So I want to do more of that. I'm not sure how the Perth time zone is going to work because they're in the UK, but definitely I want to do more of that and provide value in that way. So with my race analysis, it's just going to be focused on the driving strategy, technical, tire saving, starts, whatever, attack, defense. But with that one, it's just more of a discussion about the race and I can chip in here and there technically. And it's just a good chat where I don't have to think too much. So I like that. Okay, the next one on my list is karting. It's been a while since I've done karting. I've still got the KZ2. I always wanted to do KZ2 from a very, very, very young age. I was fascinated by KZ2. And having driven KZ2 fairly successfully, I would say, not super successfully. I have to be honest, like I'm not the best karter because I feel like I understand downforce better than I understand jacking. And those are the two holy grails of those sports. If you understand jacking, you'll smash karting. And if you understand downforce, you'll smash sim or open formula. Sim, when I say sim, I mean sim with downforce, obviously. So yeah, I understand downforce probably better than I understand jacking. Jacking is even I think some of the best karters. Anyway, they have a better grasp of jacking than I do. So I want to develop that skill. We've got a track just 10 minutes from my place. I've still got the KZ, so I'm super lucky. I want to spend a bit of time getting back to that, testing on my own. If I feel comfortable competing in races as well, I'm 33, just got my place. So I'm getting on a little bit, but fascinated by KZ2. I think to that end, it's one of the only things truly comparable to F1. Not in the sense of, how can I say this? Because it is in many senses. It is in the speed and the reactions and the timing, and the corners are over so quickly. That's similar to F1 as well. I guess from a physical sense as well, your body gets pretty bashed up. I just not in an overall speed or downforce sense. It's nowhere near comparable. Obviously, KZ, you're cornering between 70 and 120. I don't know, call it 100 kilometers, and F1, you're cornering between 150 and 250. So that's another level. But just from the physical, the reactions, they're both at the top of their sports. Like KZ is the top of karting and F1 is the top of open wheel. So I feel like there's more parallels there. I think when you go from top level KZ back to F4, I believe you take a step back, because I believe you have more time, you have less grip, less power, you're on big tracks now, things happen a lot slower, there's more room. I feel like from that sense, you're taking a step back, even though in your career, you're taking a step forward. A lot of great, fantastic karting drivers make that step and they're not so good in open wheel formula, like Formula 4. And again, that's because they understand jacking better than they understand downforce. And that understanding of downforce needs to be developed. And I do work with a lot of top level karters making that transition into open formula. That's something I want to continue to do and do more of. So you do see like top karters struggle in open formula. Also, you see people that were not so good in karting be fantastic in open formula. Again, because of the lines, the way they use the grip and downforce and all of that. So they're not, it's very, very, very rare that you see someone like just smashing it in karting and then smashing it. I think Max comes to mind. He was at the top of karting and he did really well in open formula when he got there as well. So I want to do more karting and I want to improve my understanding of jacking better. I just want to do more laps. I want to get back on the ground and feel the corners in a different way and then come back and do sim. It's just something I want to do because it's convenient. I've got the kart and I've got the track close by as well. Okay, next on my list is my own social league. So you guys know from last year, was it last year or last season at least, that I was doing my own social league in the sim racing F1 23. I love it. I love it because I can test myself against myself. I know that sounds really like, yeah, but what about everyone else? I've had a few, let me unpack this a little bit. I've had so many opportunities to race where people have told me, Martin, come and race in this iRacing championship or this endurance karting, or come and do this Porsche, whatever. And the drivers are really good and you're going to have to struggle and work. And then we end up like easily the quickest or easily dominating or whatever. And I feel like a disappointment because I prepared my best and gave my best. And in the end, I was racing in a competition that I didn't feel rewarded me. So with my own league, it's F1 23 or now F1 24. We turn the AI up as much as we can deal with. I configure everything as best I can. It's full race distances, F1, so things are happening quickly. I make the steering wheel and the pedals feel as hard as I want them to feel so that I feel like I'm challenged mentally and physically. And for me, that's just, I feel like I'm testing myself that way. Again, I know it sounds crazy. A lot of people will say, no, but you need to test yourself against other drivers and whatever. I've done that. I feel like I've done that. And it didn't do anything for me because it was, I don't know. I've always been better on a sim than I have in karting. So in karting, I do want to get back to competing. I would love to get back to competing with others because I feel like I have something to learn there. With the open formula or sim or whatever, I just feel like I've done it. So the social league I'm super looking forward to it. I need to start practicing. I need to get F1 24. One of the first things I'm going to do, which I think you should do as well, is check out what the ideal operating temperature for your tires is. And I always say this, I did a reel on this last year for F1 23. I said, how many of you open formula drivers know your tire manufacturer, the compound, and the ideal operating temperature for that tire. Like, what is it? Is it a Dunlop, whatever, Yokohama, whatever, or Bridgestone, whatever, or Michelin, whatever? What's the ideal operating temperature? Is it 80, 90, 95? And then when you come back from your very first session, how far off is it? Like, and what do you need to do to improve it? So if the ideal operating temperature is 90 and you're there running around playing with front wing, rear wing, diff, this, that, but your tires are coming in at 75, you've got a massive problem and opportunity to find a way to heat those up to 85, 90 before you worry about anything else. That would be my focus, would be how to get the tires in the right operating temperature. But a lot of drivers, because they're so with the social media and all that and the training, they don't realize, like, I need to know from the manufacturer what the ideal operating temperature for tires is. So that's the first thing I'm going to do in F124 is find out the medium, the soft, the hard, the super soft, whatever, the super hard, what's their ranges and where do I need to keep them? At which point are they overheating? And at which point are they not like switched on? So things like that, which are relevant and relatable. So anyway, the social league, I'm going to do it with my brother and a few friends. It's F124. I got all the gear here. I set it all up. We turn the AI up to full and we just have some fun. I need to think on my feet with strategy. So I'm looking forward to that. I stream my races, by the way. You can go through my channel and check out all the previous streams for different tracks. I also use it when I'm coaching other drivers. Like, for example, we were looking at trail braking with a driver and I said, have a look at Melbourne turn second last corner, turn 14 or 15, whatever it is, because I'm coming off the brakes and adding steering in a very gradual, progressive way. The other thing is check out on my Instagram or TikTok, one of the reels I did comparing my telemetry to Vettel's telemetry around China, and they were identical. So that means we understand downforce data and inputs in the same way as well. So there's little like takeaways like that, which you're going to get from my F124 streaming. Okay, next one is Q&As before live streams. I've got that on my list. If I build up a bigger audience and you guys ask me questions, I'll use the live stream. That reminds me, I've got to think about the time zone for the live stream as well, because most of you guys are in England and the times don't work. But I wanted to answer some of those Q&As before the live stream because it's just easier for me to do in one block than to do separate Q&A videos. So if you do have a question, you can always put it down anywhere on my socials, like on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube or whatever. And I just keep them aside and in my live streams, I'll answer them. The final one on my list here is track guides. I wanted to do a series on YouTube where I take you guys through the tracks and what I'm thinking, how I set up the braking, how I set up the car, what I'm trying to achieve when I go into these corners. So for example, Monaco turn 1, it's always a double lock up on the fronts for some reason into that corner because just the fronts, I don't know, just the bumps, the fronts get unloaded. There's not enough downforce for how, at the end of the day, there's not enough downforce for how much grip the fronts have. So it's always a double lock up into there. So for that reason, I brake very gently and progressively into Monaco turn 1. And I come off the brakes and roll in and get on the power up the hill and keep the car straight against the wall. But then the next corner is totally different. Is it Mirabeau? Oh no, Casino Square. That left-hander up there at the casino, that's totally different. Braking, turning, downshifting, same time. So, requires a totally different braking setup and you're using the downforce in a different way and you want to do a late apex to cut back. And so I want to talk you guys through the tracks and what you need to do. I truly believe that you need to see more corners in order to understand corners. And that's why I have my corners course, because you're going to see like, oh, that's like Monaco turn 1, like same thing. Like when you brake for Mexico in turn 1 and there's no altitude and no air and no downforce, and you brake for Monaco in turn 1, the same things happen. So you can use the same solutions. So it helps you get out of trouble. The more corners you see, and then the more you can start to think in this way and problem solve. So track guides on YouTube, something I want to do as well. So that's everything on my list. There's a lot I need to do and a lot to look forward to. Oh, wait, there is one more. I need to add that to my list. Obviously, the end of season training camp for open formula drivers. So because I'm doing all this stuff and all the open formula drivers are currently racing, they don't have time to work with me in the sim while they're overseas and whatever. But when they get back home over sort of November, December, January, that's when I want to put together my training camp for limited spots, of course. So if you're interested, please reach out now because I'm starting to plan for that. And it's going to be similar to what I'm offering now, but a little bit more intense, a little bit shorter, and targeted to suit drivers who are at home in that season, where in the off season, where you can get ahead of your competition and arrive at the first race with more knowledge, more problem solving skills, more adaptability, a better focus, less social media, less physical, blah, 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 more direction, and be ready to, start to tackle and lower your lap times. Again, my philosophy is that doing bench press doesn't help your lap times. Doing cardio won't help your lap times. Doing social media, juggling tennis balls, doing the skipping, taking selfies on the track walk, none of that, unfortunately, lowers your lap times. The only thing is going to lower your lap times is a great understanding of the technical side, fantastic technique, and a laser focus with a competitive mindset. That's what I would like my drivers to go into 2025 with and be as successful as possible. So the end of season training camp is coming. You'll see me mention it in the reels and whatever. And then drivers can enroll in that and work with me through my programs, which are already proven to get results. So that is now the end of the list. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, comments, insights, please leave them below and give me a subscribe. That would be great as well. Cheers.